It's time to finish up the NHL division predictions with the Pacific Division, all in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you're listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this Wednesday afternoon or evening or whenever you are listening to this show. Thank you very much. And we'll be wrapping up division predictions in this episode, folks. We are wrapping up the NHL and the Western Conference in this episode. And this, of course, is the Pacific Division, as out with every single previous division. We're going to start from the top and work our way down. I'm going to give some brief thoughts on all of them, where I think, these teams, could potentially be, where, I think their future could go, and, what basically just my brief thoughts on these. Now, starting out, number one in the Pacific, I'm going with the reigning Stanley Cup champions, the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, I just don't see them having the same hangover or Stanley Cup hangover that the Colorado Avalanche had. I just don't see that happening with them. But very well could. We've seen it in sports quite often, regardless of the league. So maybe that happens, but I don't see it happening with them. I see them still winning the Pacific Division. Once it comes playoff times, I think they're going to be a really dangerous team in the playoffs. Can make a deep run. Like I said in the Central Division episode, Western Conference is a lot weaker than the Eastern Conference, so that will make it a little bit easier for Vegas as well. But yeah, I definitely, it's their division to lose. Honestly, it's theirs to lose, and frankly, it's probably their conference to lose again. So we'll see how things shake out with Vegas, but I do think they're the team to beat there in that Pacific Division. They are. I think they're going to be really good again this year, and I'm excited to see what they can do. Now, number two, a team that had a lot of momentum last year, really took a big step forward. The Seattle Kraken, making their first playoff appearance last year, knocking off at the time the defending Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche. And I see, very much like the Florida Panthers, being a playoff team from last year, that I see really continuing that momentum that they built off of, or that they built last year, continuing to build off of that. I really see that happening for the Kraken. I do. I think they're going to be a really good team again this year. I don't think, they're a Stanley Cup winning team as of yet. I think that's still a couple years off for them, but I definitely think they are going to be a team. They're going to be back in the playoffs, and like we saw last year, anything can happen. At Once you're in, anything can happen. Again, Florida Panthers last year, we've went back to it a lot, but the Hurricanes back in 2019, anything can happen. But I do see the Kraken continuing to build off of their momentum they had last year. And another team, well, really number three and number four here are a bit interchangeable. At number three, I do have the Los Angeles Kings, and number four, the Edmonton Oilers. Again, those are kind of interchangeable. Edmonton, or we'll start with LA, another team, that made the playoffs last year. Kind of felt like, their rebuild is heading in the right direction for them. And then, they make some really nice additions in the offseason as well. And I want to say they're a team that is now pretty close to the salary cap, also, if I remember correctly. But they're a team that they have, they made some good additions, and they're doing their part, at least on the front office, to you know, build off of that playoff experience last year. And they added Pierre-Luc Dubois. They still have Kevin Fiala on their roster, and you who else? They made a move for someone else, but I cannot remember who it was. But you know, they are a team that they have a lot of good pieces there, and I'm excited to see what they can do. They're trying to keep it going. They're like, "Oh, hey, we got something here. Let's not get complacent. Let's, go make a blockbuster trade for Pierre and just keep it going." And I'm really excited to see what they can do this year. Now, on the flip side of that, you do have the Edmonton Oilers there at 4. Again, I do have those two teams as a bit interchangeable because you look at Edmonton, they're a playoff contender. Most of the time, year in and year out. You have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on your team. Yeah, you're going to be pretty all right. And we saw what they can do. They can make it to the conference final. With just those guys. They did that a couple years ago, and so this is another team that you can't really count them out. Again, McDavid, Draisaitl, they're kind of the ones doing a lot of the heavy lifting there for that team. It'll be interesting to see, what they end up having going on in goal, how that shakes out for them. Yeah, that's been a point of contention for them the past few years. So again, they'll be a playoff team, but past that, I'm not sure just because of how the roster is constructed. Not the best, not the worst, obviously. But you know, you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on your team. You're more than likely going to be a playoff team. Again, how far you get in the playoffs, I don't know. It could be another first round exit for them. It could be another trip to the conference final for them. Who knows? But yeah, Edmonton, they're an interesting one, simply because of their roster. They got the best player in hockey, another one of the best players in hockey. You got two of the best active hockey players on your team. You're gonna at least be a playoff team. Past that, once it we all know about the grind of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Once you factor that in, where do they go from there? Not really sure, but we'll just have to wait and see on uh, once the season starts. Really, again, it's August 30th right now. We still got off season to go. We still got training camp and preseason and regular season. We still got all that stuff to go. So anything can happen. And we will continue to dive into the back half of the Pacific Division right after this quick break, folks. Now, folks, the NFL season is right around the corner, and I am super excited. And I know a lot of folks are super excited. You're going out, you're seeing football stuff everywhere. You got the store, you're seeing football displays, you're going, on a walk, you're seeing football team flags and all that stuff. Folks are ready for football. So now to help you get ready for the NFL season, FanDuel is here to help. So get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get 200 in bonus bets guaranteed. And here's the kicker, folks. I love this offer for you guys. All customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So, if your favorite team is an out of market team, or you like multiple teams who are all playing at the same time on a particular Sunday, FanDuel has got you covered with that offer from YouTube TV. So now is the best time to join FanDuel, folks. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything from spreads to player props and everything in between. So visit fanduel.com/locked on and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss, folks. Again, this is a phenomenal offer. I cannot stress that enough. Again, you bet $5, you will get $100 off NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So again, visit FanDuel.com/locked on to take advantage of this great offer. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Now getting into the back half of the Pacific Division, and really, honestly, 5 through 8 is all interchangeable for me, to be completely honest. And it sucks, but it is the way it is. Number 5, I do have Calgary, as they stand right now. Yeah, they still have Elias Lindholm. They still have Noah Hannafin on that team, but uh, and if they keep the team they have, then okay. I think I'm pretty confident in them kind of being middle of the pack there for the Pacific. But if things go the way we think they'll go, they're going to be another team. They're just going to just start over, and then I could definitely see them falling down in the standings for their division. Um, but we'll just have to wait and see on that. Again, I think they could very well finish lower than that. They could, but again, with the roster they have right now, I think they're kind of number 5 in the Pacific. It's as high as I'm willing to put them as of right now. I could be wrong. They could, shortly after I finish recording, they could, make a massive move and they could, end up winning the Pacific. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, as of right now, I think they're kind of 5th with, again, being 5 through 8 kind of being interchangeable. It is what it is with that. Number 6 is Vancouver, just another team hasn't really made a whole lot of noise this offseason. Had moments last year, but just not a team that really strikes me as doing anything. They could potentially make a move in the playoff or make a push to make the playoffs, but outside of that, really don't see them doing much of anything. Again, Western Conference, like I've said, with a lot of these teams that the Western Conference is weaker than the East, so that could help them out a bit. But unless a team ahead of them, really just uh, has a bad year, very much like Arizona with the Central, the only way I see them finishing higher than where I have them predicted is really just if another team stinks more than them. Not necessarily them being better, just another team stinking more. I know that's kind of mean, but it is what it is. I just kind of always see them. I just don't see them as a team that can really do a whole lot. But I'd love to be wrong on this stuff. I'd love to be wrong on all of this. I'd love for these teams, from fan bases that haven't had a whole lot to cheer about, to be able to have a season where they can cheer about something. But I just don't see that being this year. Same with the next one with Anaheim. I see it being more the same for them. They have a lot. They have some good young talent there, but very much like Chicago, this isn't. They're not going to be like the New York Rangers, like the New Jersey Devils of just and LA Kings of just like fast forwarding on their rebuild and making a push to the playoffs. I don't see that happening with them. I don't. And I see them continuing to be a pretty frustrating team to watch. And not the most entertaining. Again, they do have some guys there. That could be fun to watch. We've talked a lot, about Troy Terry, Trevor Zegras. We know that they have some really good young talent there. They also, brought in or they have Brock McGinn now as well. Mason McTavish, Alex Killorn. They have some good guys there, but again, I just don't see them being a playoff team. Yeah, they signed Gudis from Florida. He's coming off that run to the Stanley Cup final. That could potentially be something that helps them a little bit with some experience with their young guys. They still have John Gibson on their team. He's still a really good goalie. Would love to see him be on a better team. I think he may have requested a trade. I'm not sure on that. But you look at they have some good young pieces, but again, they're still a few years off from being a playoff team again. And again, very much like Vancouver. The only way I really see them finishing any higher than fifth or in the division is really honestly with them sixth is just another team stinking more than them. Is what it is with them. And it sucks, does, but rebuilds take a while. And we're going to see that with the final entry in the Pacific Division right after this quick break, folks. All right, folks, we are back, and it's time to talk about the last team in the Pacific Division. Number 8, yet again, is the San Jose Sharks. I see them bringing pretty bad this year. And yeah, I don't see them being very good yet again. Yeah, they were pretty bad last year. I see that pretty much continuing this year. It just being more of the same for them. And, honestly, maybe even worse considering they lost Eric Carlson in a trade. I know, they got some good pieces back there, but yeah, I just don't. Honestly, it could be worse for them this year than last year because you're not going to have a Norris Trophy winner carrying your team. And, yeah, Anthony Duclair, he can be fun. And, he's had his moments over the years, but outside of him, like there is no one on that roster as I am scrolling through it that pops out at me again. And yeah, this is just going to be a tough team to watch. It is. And they're going to be another team that is in contention for the number 1 pick yet again. They are full rebuild mode, very much like a lot of these other teams that we've talked about. And, it's going to be a rough year for them, for Sharks fans. And I just don't, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be a fun year for them. Obviously, I'm never going to say, oh, this is a easy win for the Hurricanes. I'm not going to lock it in. But, because anything can happen on any given night. We've seen that many times over the years. Anything can happen. But yeah, this is gonna be a team that I think you see guys take a rest. Like, oh yeah, my knee injury that I've had is still nagging me a little bit. Yeah, not really. This is hockey, so it's maybe not that, but this isn't these the Sharks could easily be a trap team for other teams throughout the league, going in thinking it's an easy win. Simply, you look at the roster, especially as of right now, as of August 30th, not really the best. Again, moves can still be made, for any team in the Pacific, Central, Atlantic, or the Metro, like anything, moves can still be made. Like, Hurricanes could still make a move. The Sharks could still make a move. The Penguins, the Flames, the Predators, the Lightning, the Senators, like any of these teams can still make moves. And we will see more moves be made across the league. So, all of these predictions, take them with a grain of salt, folks, because things are still going to change. We haven't even got to training camp yet. We haven't got to preseason. We haven't got to regular season. So these teams could very well prove me wrong, prove you wrong, prove everyone else that's doing predictions wrong. Like, you just never know. The Sharks could, be like, oh, everyone's writing us off. Let's go have a phenomenal year and make the playoffs. But again, do I see that happening? No, I don't. And it is what it is. But quick rundown. Since this is the final part, we're going to do a quick recap of every division. Pacific Division, number 1, Vegas, 2, Seattle, 3, LA, 4, Edmonton, 5, Calgary, 6, Vancouver, 7, Anaheim, 8, San Jose. Now going back to the Central, number 1, Colorado, number 2, Dallas, number 3, Minnesota, number 4, Nashville, number 5, St. Louis, number 6, Winnipeg, number 7, Arizona, number 8, Chicago. Atlantic Division, number 1, Florida, number 2, Toronto, number 3, Tampa Bay, number 4, Ottawa, number 5, Boston, number 6, Buffalo, number 7, Detroit, number 8, Montreal. And then going back to the Metro Division, number 1, Carolina, number 2, Pittsburgh, number 3, New Jersey, number 4, New York Rangers, number 5, New York Islanders, number 6, Washington, number 7, Columbus, and number 8, Philly. I think all in all, it's going to be a toss up between Philly and San Jose for the worst team in the NHL this season. But we still got a whole season to get through. If you're wanting more in-depth thoughts on all of these teams, go listen to their respective Locked On shows, folks. But for all your Carolina Hurricanes needs, make sure you're tuning in here to Locked On Hurricanes, following the show along at LO_Hurricanes, following myself along at Jared Ellis _96. And in the next episode is going to be one that I've thought about for a while, and that is how to revamp Whalers Night. That's going to be fun, folks. So make sure you're tuning into that. And as always, let's go Canes.